I understand people's skepticism, and I understand their anger. And if I lived in the community, I would be angry too.
Well, that was Ohio Governor Mike DeWine speaking at a press conference yesterday about the concerns that residents share in the aftermath of a train derailment 12 days ago in the town of East Palestine, which released toxic materials into the environment and forced a temporary evacuations of thousands of residents. And 5 days later, the governor said it was safe for residents to return to their homes, but now many citizens are concerned about the short and the long-term effects to the environment and to their health after thousands of fish and livestock have died. I want to welcome in Tammy and Rick Chai, who are East Palestine residents. Tammy, Rick, welcome to the show. What a crazy situation you find yourself in as residents of East Palestine. Tammy, I'll start with you. Where do things stand right now? Is the area safe by your standards?
Well, first, let me thank and acknowledge the first responders in our little town. They were heroic in their efforts. And also a thanks to the 70-plus first responders that came from other areas to help save our little town. We might be a small town, but we are a mighty force, and we will leave no stone unturned until we find solutions and answers to this catastrophe. As far as where the town stands, it's uncertainty and it's chaos. People are really on edge and full of angst because they really don't know what's going on. There was a lot of information that was withheld at first, and we were finding out things. It was slow rolling out. We ourselves didn't find out that there was actually vinyl chloride burning in that tanker, the one tanker or two tankers, until late Sunday evening before we evacuated. So it's there's a lot of people that are really feeling bad. They're out of place because they're not in their homes. So a lot going on.
I do want to talk about the vinyl chloride in a minute, but Rick, I also want to play the director of Ohio Department of Health said this about the conditions of the water supply in your town. Listen.
We have no indication that the municipal water supply is not safe. However, we do have testing that is pending, and I think it's a relatively easy thing to do to use bottled water for a short window of time.
All right, bottled water is a great thing, I'm sure, but what about showering? What about other uses of water in the home? Do you feel safe with that, Rick?
So on a good note, we did have so we're on the outskirts, and we have well water. And we did have a third-party independent lab test our water, and it came back clear for all the chemicals, and they tested for other chemicals as well. So that's good news, at least from my neighbors. On the other hand, they didn't really expect the chemicals to reach the level of our well at this point anyway. And they advised we test every 90 days. I'm going to be a little more vigilant than that. I'll test once a month for the time being. But I do believe they are testing daily the municipal water. So, but as far as showering, I can only believe what they tell me about the muni water. But like I said, we're on well water.
Are you using your well water? Are you using it?
We're still drinking bottled waters, but you got to take a shower. So you're not going to shower with a bottled water.
Right.
So yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be pretty challenging. Tammy, let me ask you this, because you brought up the vinyl chloride. Just last week, the EPA reported there were 20 cars on the train that was derailed that were hazardous. 10 that leaked out hazardous material. 5 of those had vinyl chloride in it. If you look at the long-term effects of this man-made chemical, I mean, it's devastating, linked to liver cancer, brain cancer, lung cancer, lymphoma, leukemia. I mean, the list goes on. Some of these other hazardous materials linked to mutation. What is it going to take for you all to feel safe to live in this town, to continue to live there, and the other residents?
Quite frankly, I'm not certain at this point, because until we start getting solid answers, who can we really trust? We haven't had any federal government intervention, really. Like, we ask, where has Joe Biden been on this? Our president, we have not heard from him. This is catastrophic, and it can affect generations down the road. We don't know. It may take 30 years before we find out. And we moved here 27 years ago. because we wanted to escape like big city. We moved from LA at the time, and we wanted to live in a small town, a nice community where we felt comfortable, we felt safe, and we did all of these years. And now we don't know. We don't know what the future holds. And it would be so difficult to just pick up and leave after so long. But we can't be here if there's no clean water.
So we're hoping everything is just going to turn out fine, but we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we'll have to check back in with you. Fortunately, we're out of time. So many more questions. And I know that you all want answers. Such a scary time to be living there right now. Thank you for giving us an insight to what it's like. And where our hearts and prayers go out to you and everyone in your community.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Well, still ahead, the brand new book, Helping Kids See the Truth Behind Fake News and Information. The author